Welcome, everyone. Today we are exploring a critical pillar of Microsoft Purview, data classification. In modern work, data flows everywhere, and you simply cannot protect what you cannot see or understand. Let's get started. Let's lay the groundwork. In today's digital landscape, the volume and velocity of information being generated is exploding. Emails, documents, chat messages, and logs are constantly flowing across cloud services and personal devices. Because of this fluidity, the traditional network firewall is dead. Data is your new perimeter. Data classification is the fundamental process of identifying and categorizing all this content according to its sensitivity. You cannot apply a data loss prevention policy or encrypt a file if you do not know what that file contains. Without deep visibility into your data landscape, meaningful protection is impossible. By utilizing Microsoft Purview, we transform raw, chaotic data into a structured, visible inventory that we can proactively secure and govern. Looking at this workflow, we start on the left with a massive pool of unstructured data, the reality for most organizations. This chaos feeds into the Purview discovery engine. The engine actively scans your environments to identify the sensitivity of the content. It then categorizes and classifies the data based on your specific rules. The final output on the right is actionable, protected data. It shifts your security posture from guessing where sensitive data lives to knowing exactly what it is and how to protect it. Before you configure technology, you must define your strategy. This is your data classification framework. It is an enterprise-wide policy that dictates exactly how data should be tiered and treated. You should aim for simplicity, typically 3 to 5 levels. If you use terms like public, general, confidential, and highly confidential, you make it incredibly clear to your users what the impact of that data is. Why is simplicity so important? Because data classification is not just for cybersecurity experts. It is for your average staff members, HR teams, and business leaders. If they don't understand the jargon, the classification effort will fail. When deploying this in Purview, we use a crawl, walk, run approach. Start by mapping a few basic levels to your sensitivity labels, pilot them with your users, gather feedback, and iterate. This diagram illustrates a best practice, 4-tiered data classification framework. At the top, we have our guiding policy, breaking down into public, general, confidential, and highly confidential levels. Notice the dotted lines connecting each level to its practical outcome. Public data requires no restrictions. General is for standard internal business use. Confidential triggers restricted access. Finally, highly confidential demands strict encryption and rigorous auditing. This clear hierarchy is what you will build into Purview. How do we actually apply these classifications to millions of documents? Microsoft Purview offers 3 primary mechanisms. First, we have manual classification, where a user actively selects a label. While this promotes user accountability, human beings make mistakes. Relying purely on users is a massive compliance risk. Therefore, we rely heavily on the second and third mechanisms, automated rules, and AI-driven trainable classifiers. Purview continuously scans your data at rest and in transit using advanced pattern recognition and machine learning. If a user forgets to label a document containing financial data, Purview's automated engine steps in, detects the sensitive content, and applies the correct classification instantly. We can also implement label recommendations. When Purview detects sensitive data, it prompts the user with an in-app tip to apply the right label, reinforcing training and building a strong security culture. Here we see the life cycle of an unclassified document as it enters the Purview classification engine. It can take one of 3 paths. The top path is manual, where the user makes the judgment call. The middle path is automatic rule classification, driven by exact pattern matching. The bottom path leverages machine learning via a trainable classifier to understand the context of the document. Regardless of the path taken, the result on the right is uniform, properly classified data that is ready for governance and protection. The most foundational building block of automated classification in Purview is the Sensitive Information Type, or SIT. What is a SIT? It is a predefined pattern designed to identify globally recognized sensitive data. Purview comes loaded with hundreds of these out of the box. We are talking about credit card numbers, social security numbers, health insurance claim numbers, and passport formats. Why is this powerful? You don't have to be a developer to start finding critical regulatory data on day one. How does it work? It doesn't just blindly look for numbers. SITs use sophisticated regular expressions, mathematical checksums, and keyword evidence. This brings us to the deep dive, confidence scoring. If Purview sees a random 9-digit number in a spreadsheet, the confidence score is low because it could be a part number. But if it sees that 9-digit number right next to the keyword SSN, the confidence score skyrockets, triggering the classification. This eliminates alert fatigue caused by false positives. Let's trace how a sensitive information type prevents false positives. As document scanning occurs, it hits the first gate, a regular expression match for a 9-digit number. If yes, it moves to checksum validation to see if the math makes sense. Even if it passes, it hits the final, crucial gate, the keyword proximity check. Is the word SSN nearby? If so, we achieve a high confidence score, and the SIT is officially applied. If the keyword is missing, the system determines it's likely a false positive and ignores it, keeping your security alerts highly accurate. Standard SITs are great for generic patterns, but what about your organization's highly proprietary data? This is where Exact Data Match, or EDM, becomes your best tool. EDM is an advanced classification method that looks for exact values originating from your own custom databases. Think about a massive list of internal employee IDs or a database of patient medical records. A regular expression cannot validate if an employee ID is real. It can only validate the format. Why use EDM? Because it guarantees almost zero false positives. It only triggers an alert if the data in the document exactly matches a record in your proprietary database. How is this achieved securely? You define a schema, extract your database, cryptographically hash it locally, and upload that hashed payload to Purview. Purview never sees your raw plaintext data. This allows you to classify and protect millions of custom records across Microsoft 365 with absolute precision. This sequence diagram illustrates the secure workflow of Exact Data Match. It starts on the far left with your internal database exporting sensitive records, like employee IDs. A local hashing tool cryptographically secures this data. This hashed, unreadable schema is then uploaded to the Purview EDM engine. Later, when a user types an ID into a document, Purview instantly compares that text against the hashed schema. When it finds an exact match, it confidently triggers the classification. Your proprietary data drives the security without ever being exposed. Moving beyond exact matches, we must address documents that don't follow strict patterns. How do you classify a legal contract, a resume, or a piece of software source code? You cannot use a regular expression for that. To solve this, Purview uses AI-driven trainable classifiers. These are machine learning models that understand the conceptual nature of a document. Microsoft provides several of these built-in out of the box, ready to identify resumes and source code immediately. But the real power is building your own. How? You upload a seed set of at least 50 sample documents, let's say, 50 examples of your company's proprietary architectural blueprints. Purview analyzes the linguistic structure, the formatting, and the text relationships. It learns what makes an architectural blueprint unique. Once trained, the AI engine autonomously scans your entire environment, identifying and classifying brand new blueprints it has never seen before, purely by understanding the context. Let's walk through the training process visualized here. At the top left, an admin uploads 50 or more sample documents, in this case, resumes. This feeds into the Purview machine learning engine, generating a customized trainable classifier model. Now look below. When a new, completely unknown document is uploaded to the tenant, the model analyzes its context and linguistics. If the conceptual structure matches what it learned, it actively classifies the file as a resume. It relies on AI comprehension rather than rigid search queries. Data classification is completely useless if you don't take action on it. Knowing where your sensitive data lies is only half the battle. The mechanism we use to actually enforce protection is the sensitivity label. Think of a sensitivity label as a persistent digital wrapper around your data. When Purview's engine classifies a document as highly sensitive, it can automatically apply a corresponding label, such as confidential, legal. Why is this so crucial? Because the label travels with the file wherever it goes. If a user downloads that file to a USB drive, the protection remains intact. How does it protect the data? The label actively enforces encryption, restricts file access to specific Microsoft Entra groups, and can even stamp dynamic watermarks across the pages. Diving deeper, these labels seamlessly integrate with data loss prevention, or DLP, policies. If a user attempts to email a label document to an external partner, the DLP engine reads the label and instantly blocks the transmission. This flowchart demonstrates the immense power of a sensitivity label. Once classified data is detected, the system automatically applies the sensitivity label. This label acts as the trigger for the enforcement engine in the center. From there, three distinct, simultaneous actions occur. It applies visual markings like headers, it enforces access control by encrypting the file contents, and it triggers DLP integration to decisively block external sharing. It is an automated, impenetrable shield for your data. Let's bring this all together with a powerful real-world use case, securing HR data. Your HR department deals with payroll and performance records that would cause massive damage if leaked. How do we architect a solution? Step 1. Discovery. We use exact data match. The HR team securely uploads a hash CSV of all employee ID numbers into Purview. Step 2. Classification. Purview now actively scans SharePoint and OneDrive. Whenever a user types a real employee ID into a document, Purview detects the exact match. Step 3. Protection. We configure an auto-labeling policy. Purview instantly stamps the file with a highly confidential HR sensitivity label, immediately encrypting it so only the HR group can open it. Step 4. AI governance. In the era of generative AI, what happens if a standard user asks Microsoft 365 Copilot about an employee's salary? Thanks to data security posture management, Copilot respects the sensitivity label's encryption and access controls, completely blocking the unauthorized prompt. Your data is discovered, classified, and protected at every layer. Let's walk through this final, end-to-end architecture. HR securely uploads employee IDs via EDM at the top. Purview scans the tenant in the background. When a user types a sensitive ID into a Word document, the EDM engine triggers an exact match. This immediately auto-applies the highly confidential label. The label initiates the protection actions, the file is encrypted for HR only, and dynamically, Copilot prompts are blocked for any non-HR personnel attempting to query the data. This is intelligent, automated data governance.
To find related ebook and other material for this training course, go to quicktechie.com. Now you will see all the video courses are available here. So let's move to the ebooks. You can go here, ebooks, all AI related ebooks like you are watching currently mythos related training. That ebook would be uploaded under this section. You can download this ebook. PDF would be available, all 300-page PDF. So you just click on the download. This entire ebook you can download from this section. So whatever training you are currently listening, corresponding ebook would be available. We have thousands of ebooks available. Now other than that, we have on video courses which you are watching right now. This also all AI related courses are available. Similarly, for all company related trainings are available, like Microsoft, you can find it here with their respective certification training modules. All exam simulators which would help you to get the certification preparation. Just refresh if you get this kind of error. Okay, so now you can see these are all certification preparation materials. Will also be click here to the NVIDIA certification preparation material. So you can see all NVIDIA certification preparation materials. Click on any of this and it would load the entire screen and you can launch the practice paper. So this is what you can see, that you can submit the answer. We have an audiobooks available. Okay, so for each section, and these are our alumni who can you can find out all alumni who are accessing our portal.